Well, welcome back. My name's Lew White, as for some of you who don't know me. And thank you for liking and subscribing to my videos. I really appreciate that. I wrote a book a few years ago. I've got over 20 books, 22 I think. But you can see them on Amazon at the author's page. You can look inside the books. You know, open the book up online and read it. Most of the beginnings. This one's called Strong Delusion. It's Christianity's institutionalized witchcraft. You see a little fella flying through the air with a sleigh. A lot of people think of things, and they're trained from children to think about things at certain times of the year, and it's just imagination. But they attach it to reality. And of course, that's called a delusion. I want to give you the definition of delusion from the book itself. It's page 3. I opened it up to page 3, and I thought you might want to hear this. But I want to read this first part. This book will pull back the curtain where the wizard controls all the machinery, unveiling the witchcraft camouflaged behind common activities and symbols. See, these things that we imagine or think about or look at are triggers. They make us think about something in a different way than it really is. People have been living in a fantasy world of veiled witchcraft. Just as Dorothy went from Kansas into another realm ruled by a wizard and witches, the knowledge of the truth awakens us. Just as the red pill allowed Neo to perceive the matrix all around him. Of course, I'm using movies to explain how reality has been shaped by our thoughts. In the real world, those who teach us are wizards and witches, but in reality are masquerading as messengers of light, with titles like pastor, nun, pope, or bishop. In other faiths or other religious groups, they're called by different titles. They're given men's credentials, which is a teaching authority to teach error. The strong delusion. We have all been living in an artificial reality, a mental reality, pretending that everything we see and do has real substance. We've been beguiled by evil forces that keep the masses hypnotized and captive to a scheme of worldwide rebellion or witchcraft. They think they're doing something that's good, but really what they've done is they've learned what their parents taught them, and it's horrendous. It's an abomination. But they don't know it. Now here's the definition of delusion. An idiosyncratic belief or impression that is firmly maintained despite being contradicted by what is generally accepted as reality or a rational argument, typically a symptom of mental disorder. Well, actually, in a way, there's another way of looking at it. You can turn that around, and you can explain that those who've been teaching us and everyone around us is deluded, and that's normal for them. In other words, the worldview, the activities that they do, even though they don't have real substance, that's not reality, but everyone wants to pretend it is. So they're living in a pretend world. The synonyms are misapprehension. That's thinking you apprehend something mentally, you understand it, but you're only understanding it the way that other people have taught you about it. And misconception, misunderstanding, mistake, error, misinterpretation, misbelief, fallacy, illusion, and fantasy. It's important that we renew our mind by the indwelling word. You have to read the word of Yahuwah. And Romans 8:7 is a good place to start too. You can start pretty much anywhere because it's all truth. The mind of the flesh will not submit to the Torah of Yahuwah, nor is it able to do so. See Romans 8:7. And contrast this with the ability of a person walking in the mind of the Spirit. If you actually pursue Yahuwah, he'll let you find him. And he'll let you read his word, and you will change. It's a wonderful thing to experience. But question what you've been taught. And read Scripture and see how it lines up with what you're doing. And you'll find out, hey, everything here is pagan. Every single thing we're doing. All these rabbits and trees and pumpkins, eggs, cruxes, steeples. These are all forbidden. They were adopted from paganism. I've got in my hands here a big thick tome. It's what I first started with to study Yahuwah's words. And I had to start with my own words so that I could transfer them back to Hebrew. And on the cover I've got a lot of these page numbers. And I've got this real Hebrew and the concordance numbers. And the concordance numbers are keys so that you can go in and find where it is that these words are used in Scripture. You know, the Hebrew. I really cherish that book. So, the mass delusion that I wanted to really talk to you about today, that's the name of this video. The word Lord that you see in your English scriptures, that is a replacement word for the most used word in all of the text. About 6,823 times. They took out the name of Yahuwah and they inserted the device, and they'll admit it in their preface. The word that they replaced it with is English, but it translates from the definition of the Hebrew word Baal, which is H1167, H1167, and that's actually 3 Hebrew letters. It's spelled Beth, Ayin, Lamed, so it would be Baal or something like that. English translations admit removing the true name Yahuwah, and check it in a concordance online. You know, and put in interlinear, and then the Hebrew word that you're looking for, like H3068. H3068. That's the 4-lettered name of Yahuwah, and it looks like this. You won't see this script very often. This is the real Hebrew. And with a suffix, Shah, it's got Shin Ayin at the end, which is Yahu Shah. And that means I am your deliverer. That's another word. But it's very close to this word. In fact, it's describing the same person. But few read about the Hebrew source, though. But if you go and look at it while we have the internet, we don't know how long we're going to have it, but while we have it, you should look up the interlinear transcript of the use of the word H3068. And very few people even look in their prefaces of their scriptures. But if you read the preface of your scripture, then you'll see this. They removed his name, and they put a device in. And that device translates back to Baal. They did this due to religious tradition, and they kept mankind trapped in a kind of demonic cyclotron of confusion fusion. Everybody's been sleepy and in a dream state. That's not good. The quantum level outpouring is now purging the deep sleep of many as they discover what translators have stolen from them. Yes, translators have stolen something from you. The Natsarim, first disciples, the first followers of Yahushua, were called Natsarim. And he said, I am the vine, you are the Natsarim, the branches of his teachings. And he told us to guard his name and his word. Because he said, go and immerse them in the name, singular name, of the Father, who happens to also be the Son, and who happens to also be the Ruach HaKodesh. The name, Yahuwah, teach them the name. That's what I'm trying to do that the translations didn't do. Anyway, the other thing that he told us to do was to teach all nations to guard, that means to watch over carefully, everything that he commanded us to obey. So they have to obey it as well as believe it. But that's not what they're taught. So when you find these two things that we've been deprived of, his name and his word, then you will be thrilled, because this is a treasure. And in Hebrew, the name Yahusha, that's H3091 in a concordance online. You can buy a book like this, but you can get it online quick, and it won't cost you a thing. H3091, Yahusha, is a 5-lettered word in Hebrew. And it means, I am your deliverer. Yah means I am, and the Shah part means deliverer. I am your deliverer. Read your preface. Let the reader understand the abomination that is standing where it should not be, the set-apart place of the name in the inspired writings of truth. They took his name out and they put something else in its place. That's his word that was changed. So anyway, look it up and read Matthew chapter 24 about the let the reader understand. The reader understand, not the person going around looking in the world, but reading their scripture. Let that reader understand the abomination of desolation of his name. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next exciting video.